Júnior Cigano dos Santos, is a Brazilian mixed martial artist and former UFC Heavyweight Champion. As of January 17, 2014, he is number 2 in official UFC heavyweight rankings after the champion Cain Velasquez and ranked the number 2 heavyweight in the world by Sherdog. He is mostly known for his tremendous punching power and his great durability. He has finished most of his fights by knockouts. Background: born into a poor family, Dos Santos was raised by a single mother. In order to help his family, he started to work at the age of 10. His first serious contact with martial arts only happened when he was 21 years old, when Cigano started to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Yuri Carlton. After only 6 months of training, he won a few Jiu-Jitsu tournaments in Salvador. Dos Santos was soon invited to join an MMA practice, where he met his boxing coach Luis Carlos da Cudri, and roughly a year after he started training Jiu-Jitsu, he made his debut professional fight. Early career: Dos Santos became professional in 2006 at the age of 21. He fought in small promotions in Brazil, such as Demo Fight, Extreme Fighting Championship, Minotauro Fights and Mo Team League. He won 6 of his first 7 bouts, suffering his only loss to Joaquim Ferreira, a fighter he had previously beaten. Ultimate Fighting Championship debut: Dos Santos debuted for the UFC on October 25, 2008 at UFC 90. Considered a major underdog, he knocked out top contender Fabricio Werdum at 1 minute and 21 seconds of the first round with a strong uppercut, earning himself a Knockout of the Night award. Returned on February 21, 2009 at UFC 95, he fought promotional newcomer Stefan Struve, defeating him at 54 seconds of the first round by TKO. On September 19, 2009, Dos Santos continued his winning streak and defeated Mirko Filipovic at UFC 103. During the third round, Filipovic was dominated in the clinch with knee strikes and punches. A knee from the clinch and a right uppercut apparently caused damage to Mirko's left eye, causing him to verbally submit. Dos Santos was supposed to fight Gabriel Gonzaga at UFC 108. However, Gonzaga pulled out of the bout on November 25, 2009, due to a staph infection. Instead, on January 2, 2010, Dos Santos fought Gilbert Yvel, winning the fight via TKO at 2 minutes and 7 seconds of the first round. Dos Santos defeated Gabriel Gonzaga on March 21, 2010, at UFC Live, Vera vs. Jones by knockout in the first round, earning him his second Knockout of the Night award. Heavyweight title contender: Dos Santos faced Roy Nelson on August 7, 2010, at UFC 117. The fight saw Dos Santos use a variety of strikes and, for the first time, a successful takedown. Despite Dos Santos' striking ability, Nelson was able to stay in the fight, resulting in the fight going to decision. Dos Santos won via unanimous decision. Following the win, Dos Santos was expected to challenge Cain Velasquez for the heavyweight title. However, a torn rotator cuff suffered by Velasquez sidelined the champion for nearly a year. On January 11, 2011, it was revealed that Dos Santos would be one of the coaches of The Ultimate Fighter Season 13, opposite to Brock Lesnar. They were scheduled to face each other on June 11, 2011, at UFC 131, but Lesnar pulled out of the bout due to a recurrence of diverticulitis and was replaced by Shane Carwin. Dos Santos dominated Carwin and defeated him by a unanimous decision, relying predominantly on his boxing skills, but showed more variety in his game by landing a couple of kicks and completing 2 takedowns in the third round. UFC Heavyweight Champion: Dos Santos faced Cain Velasquez at UFC on Fox 1 for the UFC Heavyweight Championship on November 12, 2011. He defeated Velasquez in 64 seconds of the first round via KO to win the UFC Heavyweight Championship title. He dropped Velasquez with an overhand right and finished him off with a series of punches. The performance also earned him his third Knockout of the Night award. After the fight, it was revealed that he had a torn meniscus in his knee. He subsequently underwent a successful knee surgery. Dos Santos was scheduled to face Alistair Overeem on May 26, 2012 at the MGM Grand Garden Arena at UFC 146. On April 4, 2012, the Nevada State Athletic Commission announced Overeem had failed a pre-fight drug test, with the end result that Overeem's request for a license was denied. On April 20, 2012, Dana White, the UFC president, announced Frank Mir would be replacing Overeem. Dos Santos was able to keep the fight standing, showing his superior boxing skills, resulting in a KO in the second round. A rematch against Cain Velasquez was expected on September 22, 2012 at UFC 152. However, it was later announced by Dana White that the fight would take place in Las Vegas on December 29, 2012 at UFC 155. Dos Santos fell short to Velasquez after 5 rounds of a one-sided match and lost his title via unanimous decision. This marked the first time Dos Santos had suffered a loss in the UFC. Dos Santos later claimed that he was training so hard prior to the bout with Velasquez that he developed rhabdomyolysis, a breakdown of muscle fibers that releases their contents into the bloodstream, and that the condition affected his performance during the fight. Back into contention, Dos Santos was expected to face Alistair Overeem on May 25, 2013 at UFC 160. However, in early March, Overeem pulled out of the bout citing an injury. The bout was expected to be rescheduled for a future event. However, on March 9, UFC President Dana White confirmed that Dos Santos' next opponent would be Mark Hunt at the same event. In the UFC 159 post-fight conference, Dana White indicated that if Dos Santos defeated Hunt, he would be the #1 contender for the heavyweight championship. Júnior won the fight via third-round knockout in a bout that earned both participants Fight of the Night honors. A third fight with Cain Velasquez took place on October 19, 2013 at UFC 166. Júnior was dominated by Velasquez for most of the fight. He lost via TKO at 3:09 of the 5th round. Dos Santos was expected to face Stipe Miocic on May 24, 2014 at UFC 173. However, the bout was slightly delayed and was scheduled to take place a week later on May 31, 2014 at the Ultimate Fighter Brazil 3 finale. However, on May 5, it was announced that Dos Santos pulled out of the fight citing a hand injury, and he was replaced by Fabio Maldonado. Personal life: Dos Santos states that Antonio Rodrigo Minotauro Nogueira is his hero. In addition to his native Portuguese, Dos Santos speaks English and Spanish. He received his nickname Cigano by showing up to practice with long hair placed in a ponytail, Cigano meaning gypsy in Portuguese. The name is an allusion to a character from an old Brazilian soap opera, addressing the culture of the gypsies in Brazil. He is a Roman Catholic. He has also stated that as a child he hated fighting. In January 2013, he announced that he had divorced his wife of 10 years before competing at UFC 155. Championships and accomplishments: Mixed Martial Arts, Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC Heavyweight Championship, 1 successful title defense, Knockout of the Night, Fight of the Night, longest winning streak in UFC Heavyweight division history, most knockouts victories in UFC Heavyweight history. Fight Magazine, Upset of the Year vs Fabricio Werdum on October 25. Sherdog, 2010 All Violence Third Team, 2011 All Violence First Team. Mixed Martial Arts Record, References. External links: Júnior Dos Santos Official MMA Record, Official Website, Júnior Dos Santos on Twitter, Professional MMA Record for Júnior Dos Santos from Sherdog, Júnior Dos Santos on UFC.com.